There's a man who stands across the street from my house every night. I know how this sounds. I know how I sound. You probably think I'm just another paranoid insomniac spiraling from too many sleepless nights. I wouldn't blame you. Hell, a few weeks ago I'd have said the same thing. But something has changed. Every night at exactly 2:17 a.m., he appears under the flickering streetlight, a tall figure in a long, dark coat. He doesn't move, doesn't speak. He just stands there, watching. Not wandering, not pacing, just watching. At first, I thought he was some random drunk or a meth head casing the neighborhood. I live in a decent area, but weirdos pass through. That first night, I shrugged it off, grabbed a glass of water, saw him through the window, and figured he'd be gone by morning. And he was. But the next night at 2:17 a.m., he was back. Same spot, same posture, same dead stillness. I stared at him. No shifting of weight, no scratching his nose, not even a flicker of movement, like a mannequin planted beneath the buzzing lamp. I turned to grab my phone, but by the time I looked back, he was gone. Just like that, it kept happening. Every night, always at 2:17. I started setting alarms, waking up just to see if he'd return, and he did, over and over again. A silent sentry across the street. Then came the footage. I set up my phone to record him. Perfect angle, full view of the sidewalk and lamp. I watched him through the curtain and hit record. The next morning, nothing. The footage was empty, just the flickering light and the empty street. I tried again and again, different devices, different angles, but every single time, no man. That's when I brought in Greg, a buddy from college, told him to come hang out late, chill with a few beers. At 2:17, I pointed to the window. "You see him, right?" I asked. Greg squinted, shook his head. "See what?" "The man, right there, tall, black coat, just standing under the lamp." Greg glanced at me like I'd grown horns. "There's no one there, dude." I described the figure in painful detail, the posture, the coat, the way he tilted his head slightly up toward my bedroom window. Greg laughed, nervously, didn't even finish his drink. He left within 10 minutes and hasn't replied to a single message since. I tried again with others, neighbors, co-workers, my cousin. Nobody could see him, only me. Then came the binoculars. I don't know why I thought that would help. Maybe I just needed to see a face, something human. But what I saw wasn't human. The face was elongated, unnaturally vertical, the skin pale and waxy, like something pulled from a freezer. And the eyes, no, not eyes, just pits, empty, black, and endless. When I locked eyes with those voids, he moved, slowly, deliberately, turning his head until he looked straight at me. I dropped the binoculars and staggered back. That was the night I called the cops. They came, looked around, asked questions, listened politely. Then came the exchange of glances between the officers, the subtle shift, the way their questions turned. "Have you been under any stress? Are you taking any medication? Ever feel like you're being watched before?" They left with a pat on the back and a brochure for mental health resources. The next night I stayed up. No cameras, just me, sitting at the window. At 2:17 a.m., he wasn't under the street light. He was at the edge of my lawn, closer. 2 nights later, he was at the window, just inches away, separated by a pane of glass and layers of duct tape. I locked everything. Doors, windows, vents. I sealed up every crack, every gap. I armed myself with a baseball bat and a kitchen knife. That was the first night I heard footsteps in the hallway. I live alone. The footsteps were soft, steady, deliberate. Not the creaks of a settling house, not the scurry of a rodent. Real, human steps. Except not. They moved past my door, paused in the kitchen. Then nothing. Morning came. Everything was still locked, no signs of forced entry. But the kitchen floor, muddy footprints, bare, huge. I stopped setting up cameras. What was the point? Then the worst night. I woke at 2:16 a.m. The room was freezing, the kind of cold that burns, and he was there, at the foot of my bed, inside. No coat now, just pale, hairless skin stretched tight across a bony frame. His arms hung too long, fingertips nearly brushing the floor. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. My limbs wouldn't respond. He just stood there, head tilted. Then he lunged. A flash, a hand like a claw, nails like rusted hooks. Pain exploded down my arm. A scream tore from my throat as blood poured down to my elbow. He slashed again, my face this time, a deep, burning line beneath my eye. Then he vanished. Gone, like a dream, like smoke. The clock read 2:18 a.m. I stumbled into the bathroom. The wounds were deep, real. I needed stitches. But I didn't go to the hospital. I went back to the cops. They didn't believe me. Again. "You did this to yourself," one said. I nearly lost it, screamed at them, begged them to understand. But the more I said, the more they looked at me like a broken thing. One of them leaned in and whispered, "Next time we see you like this, you're not going home." 3 nights have passed. He hasn't come back. Not to the lawn, not to the window, not to the foot of my bed. But I still feel him. Sometimes I wake up and smell damp earth. Sometimes I feel the weight of his gaze. Sometimes I hear the creak of a floorboard, even when I'm the only one home. He's not gone. He's waiting. And next time he comes,
I don't think he'll leave.